Yeah.
Welcome back to the Gridiron Expert. Arkansas entered 2020 on a 20-game SEC losing streak. But Sam Pittman came in and won not one, not two, but 3 SEC games in not just his first year in Fayetteville, but in his first year as a head coach. And with all that momentum coming into 2021, there is finally a reason for hope and optimism again in Fayetteville. So guys, again, welcome back to the Gridiron Expert, here to predict and analyze Arkansas' schedule and record for this 2021 college football season. As always, make sure to continue to like, comment, subscribe, share our videos, and also make sure to check out everything down in the description below. So much exclusive content there for you, including our expert picks over on our website, thegridironexpert.com. Make sure to sign up for those today before the season starts. And of course, check out Prize Picks as well. Use our promo code GRIDIRON over there. Follow that link. Go sign up. I promise you're not going to regret it. An unbelievable site. Tons of fun over there. And with this season coming around, we're going to give you tons of pointers on what to do on Prize Picks. So go sign up. Don't miss out. So let's take a look at Arkansas, guys. Let's take a look at the Razorbacks. They went 3-7 last year. Don't let that record fool you. To the blind eye, 3-7 sounds horrible. But let's keep in mind that winning 3 games in the SEC in a normal year would usually be the equivalent of going 6-6, maybe even 7-5. Arkansas also had 3 losses by a combined 7 points. They should have beat Auburn, as many would say. Controversial finish on the Plains. Should have beat Auburn. Fell by 3 to LSU. Fell by just 2 to Missouri. This Razorbacks team was so much better than their record indicated last year. And again, had there been a normal season, the Hogs probably would have gone bowling. And there's reason to believe they will go bowling for real now in 2021 with a normal schedule. You take a look at this offense, guys. 8 starters are back, and they're loaded. Finally got a great quarterback in to fit Kendal Briles' system. Felipe Franks did great, brought stability to the program, brought stability to the position. But KJ Jefferson, in the limited time he saw last year, he did start in that game against Missouri, shined. Great arm, accurate, and dual threat. And that's the key for a Kendal Briles offense. So he is in at quarterback. He is one of the top wide receivers in the country in Treylon Burks, coming back 820 yards receiving last year and 7 touchdowns. Tack on Trey Knox, tack on Davion Warren, tack on a tight end core that has Blake Kern and Hudson Henry. Jefferson is going to have so many options in the passing core. The entire offensive line returns intact for Arkansas, which is huge. Sam Pittman being an offensive-minded guy, an offensive line especially minded guy, that's huge. But the Razorbacks have to improve there after allowing 34 sacks in 2020. The defense returns 9. They're loaded from top to bottom, and Barry Odom did a phenomenal job with the Razorbacks in 2020. They have one of the best linebacking duos in the nation, certainly in the SEC, but I say in the nation. And Grant Morgan and Bumper Poole each had over 100 tackles in 2020. Jalen Catalon returned as one of the best safeties in the country. And this defense as a whole, guys, should be much better than they were in 2020, and we saw drastic improvement. The only place Arkansas really needs to improve is in finding consistent pressure on the quarterback. The defensive line is the major area of concern. They've got to find a way to pressure the quarterback, something they were really unable to do in 2020. So let's take a look at the Razorback schedule, guys. What can Arkansas do in 2021? It lines up very well for them. Only a few true road games. Actually, only 4. 4 true road games plus the neutral site against Texas A&M. This is a team with a schedule that's very, very difficult, but one that has the talent to maybe go bowling. One that can just get to 6-6. We believe they opened the year with a win against Rice. Should take care of the Owls. Certainly not a game the Razorbacks can overlook. As recent history would show, we've seen them lose to teams they shouldn't, but we believe that Sam Pittman won't do that. They beat Rice. It's in week 2 where you'll really see what this Hogs team is made of. Does Arkansas have enough to take down Texas? Texas enters this game with a brand new head coach in Steve Sarkisian, very talented dual threat quarterback in Casey Thompson, one of the best running backs in the country in Bijan Robinson. This team is very talented. And this game is going to be the highlight of week 2, or one of the highlights of week 2, I should add. Primetime ESPN, big old Southwest rivals that have met just 5 times since the year 2000, most recently in 2014 when Arkansas won the Texas Bowl over the Longhorns 31-7. So all eyes are going to be on Fayetteville on September 11th, week 2. And this is a game to me, guys, where I look at both offense and I say, hey, Texas has got a good offense. Arkansas is going to have a good offense. They can match each other step for step. This is a game that I could actually see being a high-scoring game. But right now, when I look at it, which team do I think has the better defense? I actually might lean Arkansas on that one. Razorbacks have home field advantage. Razorback fans haven't had something to get excited about in a long, long time. A marquee matchup like this early on in the year, a chance to make a name for themselves, prove something to the country by beating a potentially top 25 Texas team. I don't think Sam Pittman lets this game get away. Again, this was a team that probably should have won 6 games last year on an all-SEC slate. I like Arkansas to pull off the mini upset over Texas in week 2. And they're 2-0. And we'll bump them to 3-0 with a win over Georgia Southern. Again, another team that Arkansas can't afford to overlook because of that dangerous triple option the Eagles run. But we saw how well Barry Odom adapted and was able to manage his defense against different types of styles. And I believe they shut down the Eagles in week 3. Arkansas is 3-0. Maybe a top 25 team going into Arlington to take on Texas A&M. If they're not in top 25 yet, they'll be right on the outside looking in. But 3-0, people are getting excited again. It's SEC play, though, that'll make or break the Hogs. Their first game, naturally, is against Texas A&M at Arlington, Jerry's World, where they had played for a while, except for last year because of COVID. Texas A&M has won 9 straight over the Hogs. They've won 9 straight over Arkansas. Arkansas has not defeated Texas A&M since the Aggies joined the SEC. That includes a 42-31 loss in College Station just last year. And here's the thing that I'm looking at, guys. If Arkansas can't stop the run, if their rushing defense doesn't improve, they allowed 192.1 rushing yards per game last year. If they can't stop that, they don't have a chance in this game. Because Isaiah Spiller is one of the best running backs in the SEC. One of the best running backs in the SEC. If Arkansas's running defense doesn't improve, Isaiah Spiller will literally run all over them. Not to mention that Texas A&M has one of the best defenses in the nation. 9 starters back. DeMarvin Leal back up front on that defensive line. Very, very strong secondary. This was a team that ranked 2nd nationally in stopping the run. Had a top 10 defense nationally overall. This Texas A&M team, guys, is for real. One that could certainly challenge Alabama for the West. Arkansas always plays Texas A&M close. And I would expect nothing less now in year 2 under Sam Pittman back at Jerry's World. But I can't pick Arkansas to win this game until we finally see it happen. A&M has their number. And on paper, they are certainly the better team. And I believe we're going to see that come out to play on September 25th. Arkansas has handed their first loss to the Aggies. The Razorbacks then go on the road to Georgia. And we know that's not an easy place to play. Between the Hedges down in Athens, a team they lost to 37-10 last year. But like Arkansas's record, don't let that final score fool you. Arkansas was leading Georgia 10-5 well into the 3rd quarter, over halfway into the 3rd quarter. And Georgia pulled away. Pick 6 from Felipe Franks was ultimately the nail in the coffin. Georgia took a slight lead there, and the rest of it was history for the Razorbacks. But an unbelievable first effort, as that game was in the season opener for both Georgia and Arkansas, the first ever game for Sam Pittman in Fayetteville. The problem now is Georgia could be even better than they were in 2020, guys, and they'll certainly be better than they were when they faced the Razorbacks. Arkansas started off that game by facing DeJuan Mathis at quarterback. Then Kirby Smart changed it to Stetson Bennett. Well, now neither of those guys are going to play. It's going to be JT Daniels, one of the best quarterbacks in the country. So Arkansas is going up against JT Daniels and Zamir White, and maybe the best Georgia offense we've seen under Kirby Smart. They're going up against a Georgia defense that, of course, is going to be one of the best in the country, and the Razorbacks have to play this game on the road. They're not going to be able to beat the Bulldogs, guys. This game could be close for a little while. Maybe it's close at halftime, but Georgia, like they did last year, will pull away in the second half and win by double digits. Arkansas remains on the road and takes on Ole Miss. So that's one bad thing about Arkansas' schedule here is after that Georgia Southern home game, they go 3 straight weeks without a true home game. Neutral site and then back-to-back road games. Drop the game to A&M, drop the game to Georgia. They go on the road to Ole Miss. They defeated the Rebels 33-21 last year. But Matt Corral threw 6 interceptions in that game. Well, I'm not banking on Matt Corral throwing 6 interceptions this time around. Ole Miss it was a sloppy performance from the Rebels. I believe they had 7 turnovers total in that game up in Fayetteville. Well, now Matt Corral is back. I don't expect him to throw 6 interceptions. This Ole Miss team had the 7th ranked passing offense in the country last year, 344.9 passing yards per game. They averaged 555.5 total yards per game. The Razorbacks defense, as we mentioned, was good under Barry Odom. That was maybe their best defensive performance of the year. It's going to be better now. But even some of the better defenses in the country, even some of the better defenses in the SEC, I don't think will be able to stop Ole Miss. And I don't think Arkansas will be able to either. Even though the game is in Oxford, that's one thing that doesn't even help the Razorbacks' case in this one. I'm not saying last year was luck. Last year was skill for Arkansas, but they are going to fall at Ole Miss behind the strength of the Rebels' offense. So Arkansas started 3-0. They lose 3 straight. They're 3-3, and I think they hang in there. I think Ole Miss is relatively close. I think A&M is relatively close. I think Georgia is the one game that's not going to be close for Arkansas. But they come back home to take on Auburn, and this is a game that you know is circled on Arkansas's calendar. You know this game has been circled ever since they lost to Auburn last year. Because remember, it was a very, very, very controversial finish down on the Plains. Arkansas had that game in the bag, led 28-27. Auburn was looking to spike the ball. Bo Nix literally turned backwards, threw the ball backwards, and the referee said it was an incomplete pass. Basically, he just spiked it, even though it was clearly a fumble. And even though clearly Arkansas recovered it, the officials turned a blind eye. Auburn ended up kicking the game-winning field goal, beat Arkansas 30-28. One of the most controversial endings in recent college football history. Arkansas is angry about that game, guys. And when you look at Auburn, I don't expect much from them. New head coach in Brian Harsin, mediocre quarterback in Bo Nix. Kind of like we mentioned with Texas A&M and Texas and Ole Miss, guys like that. Arkansas just needs to stop the run in this game. If they can stop Tank Bigsby, they will win the game. Because Bo Nix has having to deal with a brand new core of wide receivers. I don't fear Bo Nix at all for anybody that he's going to beat you through the air. And Arkansas secondary is relatively solid. So if they stop Tank Bigsby, they win this game, and I think they do. Revenge is a huge, huge factor for me in this game, guys, for Arkansas. So you could say Auburn's the better team, but there's something to be said for revenge. There's something to be said for home field advantage. Sam Pittman will have his team hyped. He will not let them forget what happened in 2020. Arkansas beats Auburn on October 16th, and I feel very confident about that. The Razorbacks will then beat UAPB out of the FCS, Arkansas Pine Bluff, so an in-state game. They're 5-3 going into their bye week, 1 win away from bowl eligibility. And again, guys, this was something that a few years ago, no one thought possible for the Razorbacks. 2-10 under Chad Morris, another 2-10 under Chad Morris. Losses to San Jose State, Colorado State, North Texas, and now they're 5-3 going into November, 1 win away from a bowl game. Sam Pittman is the savior. They get the bye week, they play Mississippi State. That was the game that ended Arkansas's 21-game SEC losing streak. They went on the road to Starkville and beat the 16th-ranked Bulldogs 21-14 by forcing 4 turnovers and having a practically flawless day from Felipe Franks. I think Mississippi State's a better team passing-wise. Last year, KJ Costello wasn't the answer. Mike Leach has his man now in Will Rogers or Jack Abraham, who transferred in from Southern Miss, both very capable. Arkansas is off a bye week coming into this game. They were able to win with a young team on the road last year. Now they're at home. Give me the Razorbacks, guys. I'm not saying Mississippi State has no chance in this game. I'm not saying that at all. But not to mention also that the Bulldogs were 105th in the nation last year in stopping the pass, and they're going up against one of the best wide receivers in the nation in Treylon Burks. KJ Jefferson connects with Burks for at least 2 touchdowns in this game. Arkansas, well-rested, clinches bowl eligibility at the beginning of November, and now they can coast. Not saying they're going to give up, but they need to clinch bowl eligibility as soon as possible because we think they lose to LSU, and of course we think they lose to Alabama. They're going to drop their next 2 games. Horrible 2-game stretch there, back-to-back against maybe the top 2 teams in the SEC West. They only lost to LSU 27-24 last year, but Arkansas was beat up, losing a lot of players due to COVID. Same with LSU. It was a very sloppy game, a game that was almost not even played. Well, now LSU gets this game in Death Valley. They've got Miles Brennan back at quarterback as long as he can stay healthy, and they've got a very dangerous secondary. And Derek Stingley, Eli Ricks, and that defensive line is going to be very, very dominant. One that if Arkansas's offensive line isn't up to par, KJ Jefferson will literally be running for his life. I don't like any team going down to Death Valley, but LSU is a team that's going to improve drastically, and they're going to win the Golden Boot again over Arkansas. Arkansas, I will say, doesn't stand much of a chance against Alabama. They've lost 13 straight to the Crimson Tide. It's in Tuscaloosa. Nothing to me seems possible for the Razorbacks to win this game there. So they drop 2 straight and then take on Missouri, the battle line rivalry in the season finale the day after Thanksgiving. Missouri has won 5 straight in this series. The Tigers have won 5 straight in this series, including a 50-48 victory last year. Arkansas scored a late touchdown, went for 2, got it, led 48-47. Their defense couldn't hold. Missouri got a game-winning field goal as time expired, 150-48. Barry Odom, an emotional game for him. Obviously, the former head coach at Missouri, so a lot of emotions swirling. Arkansas wants to win this game to snap the losing streak. It's a trophy game. They want to win for Barry Odom, and I think they do. Because I look at Missouri, guys. This is a team that right now is just mediocre against the pass, 84th in the country versus the pass. Not very great offensively, mediocre offensively. Connor Bazelak gets the job done, solid game manager. But Arkansas, one thing they couldn't do last year against Missouri was stop the run. Missouri ran all over the Razorbacks. And again, that's the key to stop Missouri. That's the key to stop Auburn. That's the key to stop Georgia. That's the key to stop Texas. Guys like that. If Arkansas's rushing defense improves just a little bit, you're going to see a couple extra wins on their schedule. I think at home, especially home field advantage is playing a key role. They're able to beat the Tigers, snap that 5-game losing streak, take a trophy this year. They're not going to get the trophy against A&M. They're not going to get the Golden Boot against LSU, but they will get the battle line rivalry over Missouri. And we have Arkansas going 7-5 in 2021. Now, again, a lot of people might disagree with that, and I will say that if there's one game that I think could be switched from a win to a loss, it's that Week 2 game against Texas. That's the one game that worries me a little bit for Arkansas. But even then, the Razorbacks would be 6-6 and would still be going bowling. Remember, you might say, how can they go from 3-7 to 7-5? If it had been a normal year, the Razorbacks would have been 6-6 or 7-5 anyways. Don't let the records last year, don't let the COVID year fool you. This Razorbacks team is good. They're trending in the right direction. Sam Pittman is doing phenomenal things up on the hill. And Arkansas will be going bowling for the first time since 2016. So guys, as always, thank you so much for watching us here at The Gridiron Expert on YouTube. Make sure to continue to like, comment, subscribe, share our videos. Also, make sure to check out everything down in the description below. We've got the expert picks over on our website. Sign up for those today before the season starts. Go sign up over on Prize Picks. Do not miss out on the fun over there. We're going to be with you every step of the way over on Prize Picks, so make sure to do that. And once again, guys, as always, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time right here on The Gridiron Expert.